we have to really hold everyone accountable. And this is a problem that doesn't just stay in one country. That's the thing, is it goes everywhere. And it's a challenge to move things along.
How much new medicines we are losing without cancer disease can be cured by one small piece of plant that can be lost tomorrow. The COVID can be cured by a molecule of a frog that we will lose tomorrow because we not stop the deforestation, stop the killing of forests, and we will not ever know what happened.
I think we're actually slowly killing ourselves right now already. And so that comes in many shapes and forms, right? And some of it we can see right now. So the wildfires in California that are out of control, previous years in Australia, I mean, we have a lot of folks who are convincingly showing that climate change is driving a lot of that. So, I mean, that's pretty apocalyptic, actually, I find. Also hurricanes, we have a tremendously active hurricane season this year, right? And that too has been attributed to climate change. And that has devastating overnight impacts on many people. But then if we look at slower processes, cancer is another one of them. What we're doing basically by substituting nature for synthetics and artificial products, substances, etc., is probably contributing to our overall cancer burden too. And that is slowly killing us, most certainly.
Pathogens are here, and they're a part of the ecosystem. They've always been part of the ecosystem, and they always will be part of the ecosystem. What we have to learn is how to minimize the disease burden of those. Part of it is keeping a healthy ecosystem, and deforestation, climate change has a lot to do with that. Part of it has to do with having a healthy social infrastructure and be able to be resilient to these changes.
What gives me hope is that knowing, seeing that people are connecting those dots, and we no longer have to do that. The thing that's really important is that people are empowered to hold corporations and governments accountable for this, and for what's happening. And I mean, I think people more and more will become apparent, like, we're going to stop deforestation one way or another. We may run out of forests, we might not be around to cut down forests more, but we can also make the decision to end deforestation on our own.
More people in the world are dying from too much food than too little food. And, red meat is I'm not trying to suggest that it is the predominant force in the obesity epidemic in the United States. But many foods that are produced with red meat are shockingly unhealthy. And there are healthier, there's no question there's healthier red meat, which has less saturated fat, and but the vast majority of what we're eating in this country is ground beef that has 7 or often much more higher content of saturated fat in it. And then there's processing that probably makes it even less healthy. So, getting red meat, less red meat in the American diet would be good for all kinds of outcomes. It's hard to do that because there's a very powerful red meat lobby in the United States, and that people really enjoy eating it.
With regards to the tropical rainforests, if you're sitting in Michigan and you don't have any plans right now to go there and to buy a whole big plot of conserved land, for example, then some other things you could do the red meat discussion that we had earlier, reducing meat consumption is influential. So cutting back on those kinds of consumption patterns will benefit your health as well as the planet's health. That's definitely the case.
It's make pressure in your own government to ask for Brazil, to ask the Brazilian government, the congressmen, the senator house, the president, whatever, to stop what are happening in the Amazon, stop the killing of the Amazon, stop the killing of the people in the Amazon, that defend the Amazon.
Vote on these issues. Understand. If you're concerned about climate change, and this isn't just at the federal level. Let me be clear. Most of the action on climate change is happening in states right now, and so. What's heartening in places like Detroit, you see American car companies, they've got this. I mean, they're moving away from the internal combustion engine. They are electrifying fleets. But, we just learned that in Ohio, there's essentially a sort of mind-boggling story of utility essentially doing backdoor dealing to protect coal-fired power plants to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. And, politicians need to be held accountable for that kind of stuff.
Engaging in more active transportation, meaning walking or bicycling, will indirectly, but very tangibly though, impact the rainforests, because by doing so, we emit less CO2, right? We contribute less to climate change. Climate change, unfortunately, is driving deforestation as well by fueling fires even more.
Initially, you were talking about deforestation and disease, and I think it is much broader than that. Deforestation is a big part of it, but it's really about the relationship between our ecosystem, how we affect and impact our ecosystem, and how that ultimately then impacts disease and disease transmission.
We also have the ability to influence our legislators, our representatives, the people who are in our stead in government, right? So we can certainly write them, we can talk to them, we can engage them on the larger supply chain issues.
We all make choices with how we spend our dollars in this country, and thinking about, are the people we're buying from actually doing stuff around carbon? Are they doing stuff around improving livelihoods? Are they investing in our communities? Or are they simply just trying to make a buck?
We can influence companies too by letting them know that we will not purchase their products if they're of this mind. Or we can have a very similar but positive spin on it and say we would love to purchase their products if they were to consider sourcing other types of products, other types of ingredients. These are all things that are well within our power. We have tremendous power in that regard.
Going to have global warming. We know that we're going to have 1.5, at least 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming in the best case scenario. The issue is whether or not we are going to have, there's scales of how much the climate will be disrupted. And the more it's disrupted, the more costly it will be, the more people who are at risk, and the harder it is to accommodate that. So it is a triage situation, but there is scenarios that are better than others, and that's really what we're looking for right now, is the best case scenario.